Is New World going to be removing factions, or are we going to be getting same faction wars? Well, that's possibly been teased by the New World Twitter because they've posted some out of context like memes and spoilers, and we're going to talk about that right now. And the image that is causing this conversation is this one. Obviously, you may be familiar with this being the Spider-Man meme where it's 3 Spider-Men all pointing to each other being like, hey, it's you, it's me, or whatever. And then that's what this image is sort of representing. And considering it's a spoiler, the obvious question is, what does it mean? Now, you'll see various answers on this online, the most dramatic of which is that the factions as a whole might just be getting removed. Now, I personally don't see that happening, as I think that that change would be way too big of a change, basically, because all of the wars sort of depend on it. Open world PvP sort of depends on it. I just don't really see this being practical right now. It also feels like this would be too early to remove factions. Yes, maybe do that in an expansion down the line, but I wouldn't necessarily do it right now. But then again, the war system could very easily work based on guilds, and maybe it's going to change from a faction system to a guild based system, and maybe they always planned this and they were already expecting to do this. They already had it planned in the pipeline, so to speak. That would be pretty interesting if they are going to go down that route. But on my server, a lot of the companies don't necessarily have like 50 active players, so we're sort of like teaming up. You'd have to have like maybe an alliance system and all that kind of good stuff. But it would make sense to essentially to think that, because this meme is like, hey, we're all the same. Well, how do you make all the factions the same? Well, you literally make them the same and you dissolve them. However, it could obviously be a few different things. It could be like, hey, you're the good guy, I thought I was the good guy. It could be anything like that. Personally, considering that the developers have spoken about this in the past, I think the most likely option, and keep in mind, I could very, very easily be wrong. I have no insider knowledge. This is just a pure speculative guess on my part. I have no information. So I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. And what I think it might be is that it might be the time where we actually get same faction wars. Now, I'm not 100% sure how that would work, because how would you declare and stuff like that? But they had spoken about basically trying to get rid of towns where essentially there was a dominant faction and you couldn't remove them. So they wanted somebody in the same faction to come in and maybe try and remove them. That could be what's being hinted at with this picture. Quite frankly, there's no real way of knowing that. What we do know is that they've posted 3 images, and we know 2 of them have pretty much like sizable content behind them. So it's worth assuming that this is going to be a big change to the game on some level. What that change is, well, as I said, we're speculating. I sort of suspect that the PTR will drop relatively soon. They tend to do them slightly earlier in the month than they used to, and that's so that they can get like more and more testing done in that month. So I suspect we'll see information on this sort of soon, maybe this week, maybe next week. And then the other images that have been revealed, well, here we have Isabella surrounded by love hearts. Now, we know that this is essentially a reference to Isabella's lure. That's the new expedition that is almost guaranteed to be coming now in March. What that lure consists of, well, maybe she's got a bit of a love story to tell. Maybe she's in love with, I don't know, Captain Thought, because he's literally the only other character that I know the name of. And maybe like Jonas, I don't know, whatever his name is, the hermit guy. I don't even know if the hermit guy is called Jonas or if that's a different character. My knowledge of the story, really, really bad. But maybe it's some sort of like love story that she's got involved in, and we're going to finally conclude and find out what's going on a little bit there. But yeah, this one guaranteed to be Isabella's lure. Now, this one I actually find relatively interesting because essentially this is the Blunderbus. But the Blunderbus, I don't really know what I was expecting. It may be that the Blunderbus is effectively a pistol as we sort of know it, a short one-handed weapon that, you know, you shoot with. But as somebody who doesn't really know weapons very well, if you would have told me that this was a pistol, I would have flat out believed you. Are we going to get the Blunderbus and the pistol? When I see this, I sort of suspect not. This may be the pistol as we know it. Apparently, Blunderbuses can be like 2 different things. They can be like a longer, bigger weapon with like, you know, the big open snout and stuff like that. Don't know if snout's the right word. Probably muzzle. Who knows? Not really a weapon expert. Or they can be like short like this. So this definitely looks interesting. It looks like the pistol as we thought of know it. We're not going to have pistol and shield at the moment. We're not going to have any like dual pistols or anything like that. We are, however, getting the Blunderbuss in March. And the key thing for me is I sort of hope that it's a strength-based weapon, maybe like a strength dex weapon, because it'd be nice to have a range weapon on the strength like category. However, is that going to make any kind of sense? I don't really know, but it would be nice to see that. So yeah, what does this image mean? Well, we don't know, but we do know it's something related to factions, and that's probably about it. It could be that the factions are getting dissolved and we're all going to be like one faction. However, that's such a big change that I can't help but feel like that would have been planned from the start. Maybe they did plan it from the start. Maybe the whole story was, hey, we're going to have it so that you think you're all like enemies, but ultimately you're all going to be friends and you're all effectively going to be the same thing. And the game is going to change to a guild-based system. Like that, if they are planning that, that will have been thought of like literally probably years ago. I sort of don't see that being the case, but I said I've been wrong before. I sort of feel like it's more likely we're going to get same faction wars first, but maybe they always planned to not have same faction wars because they knew they were going to get rid of factions. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. What will happen here is I'll make this video, I'll release this video, and then later on today or something, they'll come out with the PTR patch and I'll be like, oh, well, now we actually know. But until that point, if you enjoyed this video, do like the video. If you've not subscribed to the channel or interested in New World and MMOs, then please do subscribe. Have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.